Fasting Foodie friend. It's another question and answer. You guys submitted questions on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm going to answer them while I'm getting ready for the day. We're in a robe. Don't worry, it's tied tightly. It might move, but it won't slip. I'm going to just be getting ready for the day as I answer your questions. I hope this feels like we're just sitting down and chatting like old friends. I'm not going to say this a million times, but it gets asked whenever I do questions and answers. Anything that I have links for, I will share below. They will be affiliate links. It's just a way that supports my channel, supports me doing this, but anything from my robe to my coffee cup, any of the cosmetics that I use, if you're interested, are linked below. I'm not trying to make this a sales video, but I get asked, so it's just easier to say that up front. Okay, so I'm gonna put some moisturizer on. This is new. I'm trying something that my friend that's an esthetician recommended. It's a brand that she sells. I do have an affiliate link for this too. It's new to me. I have been getting blackheads, and the worst part about it is I pick them, which then makes a much bigger issue on my face. So I'm trying to use some more skin-friendly options. This was recommended, but I put a squirt of glow drops into an SPF moisturizer. So I'm gonna get that on my face while I answer the first question. How long did it take until OMAD lifestyle became easier for you? So when I first started fasting, my goal was to have a 6-hour eating window, 18-hour fast. 18 hours is still my minimum. But what I realized really quickly was having a 4 to 10 hour eating window was a long time. And I almost always closed my eating window much earlier than 10 p.m. I wanted the ability to snack with my husband at night. That has always been something I feel like I missed out on when I was dieting. So having a 4 to 10 meant I could have dinner and snacks with my husband. But I realized just naturally I kept closing my eating window because I was satisfied. That's how I got to OMAD, is I just was like, you know, I don't need a 6-hour eating window. I eat so much at the beginning. I feel very satisfied, and I just kept closing it early. That's when I was like, okay, I think OMAD's for me. So it wasn't necessarily intentional. It was just more a result of liking it. Adjusting to the 18 hours, though, took me about a good solid 2 weeks to actually feel pretty darn good, I think. I was having headaches. It was my biggest issue. And I just dove right in. I didn't do any stair stepping. I didn't take it easy. I just got my minimum 18 hours every day. And part of the problem was as soon as I opened my eating window, I would eat whatever was available. I remember once eating Oreos. I don't like Oreos on their own. And I just remember, like, as I'm eating it, like, why is this what I'm eating right now? But it was right in front of me, and I got my 18 hours and I was excited to eat. But I learned from all of that. I learned that when I ate whatever, I wouldn't have room for the foods I actually wanted. I learned that I'd eat too much and I didn't feel good and I'd feel really sleepy. And then it just slowly morphed. I think about 2 weeks in, I was in a pretty good pace of getting 18 hours of a fast. I did strictly clean fasting, coffee, water, iced tea. And I'd say 2 weeks is when I could really get through the fast happily and actually enjoy my eating window. Now I still did deal with overeating at the beginning or eating whatever was in front of me for quite a while, but it wasn't quite as catastrophic as the beginning. I never thought I would share fasting, so I didn't document or journal or keep record of anything at the beginning. I wish I would have done more of that, but I didn't. So I'd say 2 weeks of a pretty drastic learning curve, and then I was feeling good and feeling confident to tweak and find out what worked best for me. You did ask until it was easy. I think probably within the first month, so 2 more full weeks, I really was like, this is amazing. This is cruise city. And to say that doesn't mean that I never get hungry, but I find it just so much easier than dieting. And I came from constantly feeling like, can I eat this? Should I eat this? Is this too much? Should I not eat this? I know I'll be sad if I don't eat it. So removing all of that made it feel like an easy lifestyle. So I hope that helps. Stephanie asked how to get back on track after not fasting right and putting on weight. I know this is very personality driven, but honestly, I think you just have to kind of bite the bullet and do it. Know it's gonna suck at first. If you tell yourself that, I always think of road construction. If you're driving somewhere and you expect the road to be clear, then construction is extremely frustrating. But if you're driving somewhere and you know there's going to be road construction and you put that into your psyche on the drive, and you know that when you get there, it doesn't feel as devastating because you expected it. So expect it to feel difficult. I normally eat all day and now I'm going to shift this. It's not going to be pleasant, but I know it's going to pay off when I adjust. So telling yourself it's going to stink a little bit. I don't know what your goal is. If your goal is to fast 18 hours, if your goal is to go OMAD, if your goal is to do 16 hours, start less than your goal. Give yourself small wins. Don't strive for perfection. Allow yourself to do it imperfectly. So if your goal ultimately is to do OMAD and 20 hours of a fast a day, and you start and you're at 15 hours, celebrate that. like, good for you. You did 15 hours, and then try 15 again, or 15 hours and 15 minutes. Allow yourself a slow, steady progress. Also, don't think you have to immediately get your goal and you immediately have to lose weight and you immediately have to find success. Everything doesn't have to be immediate. You can adjust to fasting without seeing weight loss results. You can adjust to fasting without having optimum eating windows. You can take it incrementally and allow yourself the room. Like, tell yourself, this isn't gonna be perfect, but every single day I'm gonna be consistent. I'm gonna try. I'm going to do a little more than yesterday. Yesterday, I didn't like the way I felt when I ate a crumble cookie to open my eating window, so I'm not gonna do that today. But if I want it at the end of my eating window after I eat a satiating meal, then I can consider it. Like, you can just modify little by little, find what works for you, give yourself grace to make mistakes. And I don't wanna say make mistakes because there's no perfect way to do fasting, but I think you understand what I'm saying. That sticker was the bane of my existence. I got a new little mini eyeshadow palette, so we're gonna put eyeshadow on now. When you say you fell off the fasting wagon, I'm imagining that you did it really well and then you got off. Remind yourself what you liked about it. Remind yourself the simplicity of your eating or you're not. Remind yourself that eating all day, maybe you have food all day, but what was it really food that you liked all day? Really lean into what you enjoyed about it before. Focus on that and allow yourself grace in the process. I am cheering for you and I know you can do it. But eyes now. On top of the Self palette, I also have one from Aldi, and I love that it has a mirror and a brush that I can use, but I took all of the light colors almost out, so I have to supplement. And these aren't always available at Aldi. It's like a Christmas item, so be looking for them soon. So this next question, LB Please, says, how did you get rid of any belly fat? Was it just from fasting? Thanks, you're very motivating. Yes, honestly, any belly fat I got rid of, honestly, was from fasting. So I have no belly fat melting secrets. I don't have any methods to target certain fat in your body. I still have a pooch and a belly. I'm a mom who had 3 kids, and pretty typical, I have the mom pooch, you know? Gotta protect that uterus. And I don't think I'll ever not have some belly fat, which is fine by me. Like, being a bikini model isn't my goal. I wanna be comfortable, I wanna feel good, I wanna feel okay in clothes, and I've met those objectives. But fasting is how I got rid of all of the weight. I have done various things throughout this journey, like 75 hard, or I've done walking challenges, but I've never done anything day in, day out. And I didn't do any of those until I lost the weight and got to the 150s, which is where I am right now. Fasting is what did it for me. Basically, when I am not eating all day, if my body wants energy, it goes to my fat stores, and I definitely had hip, thigh, belly fat in excess. Just a little moment here. I put like a lot of shimmery browns, or is how I do my eyes, and it really is not a science, but I do darker in the corner, and then I do lighter on the inside and out and around. And then some days I don't pay attention and it's stuck in the inside of my eye here, and I thought it was a shadow and I don't see it because I normally get ready in my closet. That's just a little extra fun fact for you. But getting back to belly fat, that is all that I did fasting. And I like to walk. I have not found a regular workout routine that I do on the regular. Talking about belly, I do have this castor oil that I try to put on every day. I'd be lying if I said I was perfect at it because I don't remember things well. I'm not good at habits. But I have this, and I did put it in a dropper. I'm gonna put it on my belly. I try to do this every night and after showers. I'm not perfect at it. But in addition to removing belly fat, it has really helped me to reduce the appearance of stretch marks and really has helped my stomach look better. Putting it on my stomach now. I definitely don't think it's magic and makes it go, like, makes my stretch marks disappear, but after losing weight and 3 pregnancies of giant babies, I had lots of stretch marks, and the appearance of them has drastically improved. My skin looks tighter, and I think just the overall, like, purple of the lines has really improved. So that castor oil was a good decision. So this next question is, do you use flavored element when in your fasting window? I thought you did in one of your videos. Are flavors okay occasionally while fasted? Thanks. I made an entire video on this, and I will link it at the end, but I do now have flavored element sometimes in my fasting window. And it's not something that I would recommend to a new faster. I think LMNT is great for any faster, whether you are new or not. It really has helped me with cramps. People say it helps with nausea and headaches. I wish I had it at the very beginning when I was getting headaches. I don't really suffer from those anymore, but LMNT helps you to stay hydrated. It adds to your electrolyte level, and they're actually sponsoring this video. But when I got this question, I thought, of course, I have to have them sponsor this video because I love to talk about them. But LMNT Electrolytes has 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams magnesium. It doesn't have junk or fillers or sugar, so it's just giving you items that you need, and they're going to help you to stay feeling good, and no dodgy ingredients that you don't need. And I love to have them, especially when I do longer fasts. I always have LMNT. And for the first 3.5 years, if I had electrolytes, I always did the unflavored because I wanted to have a clean fast. I didn't want any flavors to potentially mess me up. I still think that is the best way to learn to fast. Learn with a clean fast because you know what a clean fast feels like and you know how good you feel then. Then if you want to start playing with things like flavored element instead of the raw element, you can see, does it make it harder to fast? And that's what I did. Earlier this year, strictly for video purposes really, I started drinking LMNT in my longer fast to see if it made me feel worse or better. LMNT flavored doesn't make me feel worse. Diet Pop does, and I tested that. I love both of them. I wish I could have both of them while fasting, but Diet Pop does make me feel hungry and makes me want to eat. It makes the fast harder. I haven't had that same experience with the flavored element, so yes, I will have one of those daily if I want one in my fast. I don't always have them on my normal OMAD days, but I always have it on a longer fast because that's when I really suffer from sore legs. I don't always feel like I need the electrolyte boost day in and day out, but if I'm doing more physical activity, if I have longer fasts than normal, if I do the down days, it is absolutely a must. And I really love the flavors, so it's much more enjoyable when it's watermelon, and it's easier to incorporate when I actually think it's delicious. I'm doing eyeliner now. So yes, LMNT is sponsoring this video, and that question was not a plant, but I had to have them be a sponsor when I got it. And look what just arrived, their chocolate medley. This comes out in the winter season. These are so good warm. You know I'm all about LMNT's fruity flavors. They're my absolute favorite, specifically the watermelon. But I also really love when they come out with their chocolate medley in the winter season. That's chocolate mint, chocolate chai, my personal favorite, and chocolate raspberry. They're so good to mix as a warm beverage. It's a really nice treat and a great addition to all the LMNT flavors. And right now, LMNT's offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's a single serve packets free with any LMNT order. It's the perfect way to try 8 of their flavors or to share LMNT with a salty friend. You can get yours by going to drinklmnt.com/fastingfoodie. That's drinklmnt.com/fastingfoodie. Thank you so much to LMNT for sponsoring this video. And don't wait, because if you're interested in trying chocolate medley, it's only around for a limited time. It comes around each year, and that chocolate chai is definitely worth trying. I'm putting brown eyeliner on now. I am old school. I like the liquid pot with a brush. I have to focus on it, but I use brown. That's a switch that I did since doing my color analysis, and I really like it instead of black. So the next question actually came from Instagram, and they asked, do I have any idea how many calories I eat in a day? And they said, I know you don't count, but if you had to guess. And I feel like that's a really hard question because 1, I eat something different every single day. 2, I don't count, so I really feel like a guess would be inaccurate. I think because I'm currently maintaining a weight and I don't lose weight, I'm pretty close to my base metabolic rate that I need. I'm 5'10", I'm a woman, I weigh around 153 pounds, and I'm not active as in like run marathons, but I'm up and around and doing things regularly. I go to the dog park a lot. I go on walks, I go to my kids' activities. So I don't know what my base metabolic rate is, but I'm not losing weight. My best guess would be that maybe I get around 2,100 calories, but I also don't know. So I eat large portions. I don't count calories. I do look at calories occasionally. Like, this is a very extreme example, but if I'm going to crumble a cookie and I'm deciding between 2 cookies, but I see one has 200 calories more, yes, I'll take that into account. Like, okay, well, I'll eat the one that has 200 less calories. And it's not because I'm like trying to cut calories, but if there's 2 different things that I'm deciding between and one is less calories, I'll go with that. But it's not something that's in the front of my mind, and I don't count. It's really hard to talk and do this, so I still have eyes to go. But the next question talks about doing alternate day fasting and having a hard time getting a full day of eating, not enjoying having an up day. This person is asking if I think it's okay to have OMAD after a full day fast, and talking about having the benefits of longer fast but needing a 6-hour eating window. This is one place where I have to remind you guys, I am not a medical, nutritional, expert of any variety. I am someone that loves fasting, and I love sharing what I find out, my experiences. But I have to default to what I learned too. So I have read about the importance of refeeding. So this all started with Jen Stevens' book, Fast, Feast, Repeat, and she talks about alternate day fasting and needing to properly refeed and refuel your body. And because of that, I always make sure I have a 6-hour eating window. I have never done OMAD as an up day. And Jen actually goes into this, and I'm guessing you've read that book if you're mentioning it. I don't have additional insight to provide, but I've personally never done OMAD, and I wouldn't, because the fear is that your body goes in this long period of not eating, and then if you don't properly refeed it, or you don't feed it enough afterwards, and that becomes a pattern, the potential is that it's going to think you're in starvation mode, and then it's not going to go after the fat stores. It's going to think, okay, we have to save these, and you will potentially be preventing weight loss and making your body think that it doesn't have adequate food available to it. So if you're doing a long fast and then you're not having a proper refeed, you could be making your body think it's starving, or you could be making your body think that food isn't available, and then it goes into a scarcity mode. Now, all of that is regurgitation from my head of reading about refeeding days. It also is enough to convince me that I need a proper refeed day, what I've read, but I have to say it's not my research and it's not my area of expertise. I'm just following what I've read. Probably the same things that you've read. So I don't think OMAD is appropriate after a full day fast, because your body needs to know that you're going to refeed it again. And that's how I practice it. But again, I don't think I have authority to speak from a scientific or a medical standpoint, but anything that I've read makes me keep with an up day. I enjoy the up day until I'm at the end, and then the next day I always feel so much better on OMAD days or on the morning of down days. The mornings after up days, I think, yeah, full days of eating, I just don't feel the best. I like them socially. I like to be around, you know, if you're, like I was celebrating my husband's 40th birthday, I ate a longer day that day. I enjoyed the festivities associated with that. I don't physically feel the best after up days, so I understand what you're saying. You don't like the full day of eating. I like that it breaks up monotony, but if you don't like up days, then I probably wouldn't do alternate day fasting. Personally, I do think it's important enough to keep doing them if you want to do alternate day fasting. But a perfect time to remind you all, I'm not a medical or nutritional expert. I'm just a fasting enthusiast. Planning to Prosper also asks, how do you handle social events constantly popping up? I don't want to say no to things, but everything revolves around food, it seems, and a lot of time the events fall inside of when I'm supposed to be fasting. Well, I will say, as I'm putting on my blush, this is just from e.l.f. I don't have much in my life that happens last minute. I'm a mom of 3. My kids are very busy, and their schedule pretty much dictates my schedule. If I go out to eat with a friend or on a date with my husband, it takes planning. So I don't have a ton that pops up last minute. If I had something really important pop up last minute, I am flexible enough that I would decide, do I want to do this, do I not? Most of the things that come up last minute are not that window worthy to me. So I'm thinking, I was invited to be on a board at my kid's school, and Domino's pizza was provided. Now, I like pizza, but I can get, and I do get pizza frequently. So it just wasn't worth it to me. I had hot coffee, they had iced tea there, I could have iced tea, and I simply enjoyed hanging out, getting to know teachers, administrators, other parents, while fasting. Now, if a friend from college was in town and I didn't know about it and I was invited to go out, I would simply have an abnormal day, let it be enjoyable, I'd participate, something that was important to me. If it popped up and it was really something I couldn't plan for, then I would do it, because I need to be able to have flexibility. If I feel like fasting is a prison sentence, it's not something I'm going to be able to do long term. If you have a life that is super last minute and things pop up, maybe you need to just be super flexible and every day not really know when your eating window is going to be until you see what the day is shaping up like. I think that's one of my favorite things about fasting is I'm about 26 hours into my fast right now, and I feel really good. I ate breakfast yesterday. I am either going to eat lunch or dinner today. I haven't quite decided for my OMAD, and because I'm so used to fasting, I can go with the flow. So if you really have a very last minute life, you could go with the flow until you see what happens. You get invited to lunch, have your meal time at lunch. You don't get invited to lunch, wait until dinner and see what pops up. But for the most part, I can plan things. So when I plan them, if I have a really social Saturday, I might fast all day Friday so that I can have a really long eating window. If I want to go to my grandma's house and have a longer than normal eating window, I will plan for that to be an up day, then have a down day the day before. I do that often. That is my number one tool, alternate day fasting, down day before an up day. The up day I can eat longer, all day if I want, and it's intentional. And then it doesn't feel like I'm breaking the rules or doing what I shouldn't be doing because it's what I plan to do. So those are my tips. Go with the flow, plan, down days, up days. And then the more you're around food that you don't really care about, the easier it is to do it. So like with the Domino's example, I asked myself, like, do I really feel left out of Domino's? No, I don't. If you do, participate then. Really being critical. Another example is my daughter had an art gallery. She did a glass blowing camp and we went and they had refreshments and I was going to either participate or not. I was going to see, but I got there and it was chips and salsa, nothing special, lemonade, nothing that made me feel like I can't have this any other time. Also, it was nothing that added to the experience. I was excited to see my daughter's art, see where she did her class, be a part of that. Adding chips and salsa really wouldn't add to the event, and it also didn't take away from the event by me not participating. I had my hot coffee, I enjoyed the event, and I skipped the food. So much of what I skip on a daily basis or what I don't participate in isn't a one-time opportunity, and I have to like mentally coach myself through that, especially at the beginning of fasting. Like, really, am I missing out on this? No. Can I still enjoy the company, the event, the time? And if I can't, if the answer is no, I can't if I don't participate, then give yourself the flexibility. For me personally, those opportunities aren't all the time, so it's something that I can make room for. I hope that helps. By the way, I'm using e.l.f. Brown Mascara, their cheapest one. This next question came from Miss Lady Winter, and I think it's funny. Do you ever miss just eating your food without worrying about filming? Yes, that is a very easy yes. I like sharing with you guys. I like being an encouragement to people on their fasting journey. I like demonstrating that this is a joyful lifestyle. It is a little tiresome to film and to remember to film or to get my family to be quiet for the first bite of the day. It's more routine the more I do it, but it is so much easier to just eat, obviously. So there are times where I'm like, I'm sick of this, or I don't want to film this meal and I don't, and it's never because I'm like ashamed of what I'm eating. It's because I'm sick of filming and I don't want to do it. Or my phone wasn't charged, or it's too loud of an environment, or we have guests over and I'm embarrassed. I get sick of it. Sometimes it does sound easy to just not film. But the truth is, you guys are a great accountability partner, and recording also keeps me accountable to the lifestyle and to sharing. And so it does help a little bit, but I miss the ease of not filming, certainly. That was a very great question. I'm about to go blow dry my hair, and you guys won't see that because it's loud, but I love this question too. Miss Lady Winter also asked, do I have a favorite diet soda? Hers are Dr. Pepper Zero and Peach Fresca, which Peach Fresca I never have even heard of. I'll have to look for it. But my favorite, without a doubt, is Coke Zero Vanilla. I absolutely love it. I think this is better than even non-diet sodas. Absolute favorite. It's really hard for me to find lately. Stores stopped carrying it. It used to be in gas stations on road trips. I can't find it regularly, but I love this stuff, and I love to put vodka in it if I have a drink at night. So absolutely my favorite. Miss Lady Winter also asked if my husband or kids fast. Fasting is definitely not recommended for kids. And as far as my husband's fast, he does it unintentionally. There's a lot of times he goes to work and he doesn't eat breakfast beforehand and he doesn't eat lunch there because he's busy or he doesn't want to spend money on it and he doesn't pack a lunch and he comes home and has dinner and then snacks all night. He did that long before I was a faster, but it wasn't intentional. He didn't track anything, and he also wasn't like consistent day in and day out with it. That's still how he approaches it, but I do think that he spends a lot of time fasting because he skips breakfast and lunch for ease. But now I'm gonna go get my hair done and then we'll get back to questions. Okay, I'm back and my hair's manageable. Maybe not great, but it's manageable. And I have a few things left to do. I'm gonna pluck a few eyebrows and shave my face. perfume, and we'll see if I need or decide to use concealer. The next question came from Instagram, and she asked if I ever have like half of an avocado or MCT oil while I'm fasting, and the short answer is no. The longer answer is I have actually heard of people that do something like a good fat of avocado while they're fasting as kind of just to help them get through. I've never done that. I personally was actually surprised when I heard about it. The first time I ever heard about it was Kieran, my friend Kieran. She's an intermittent fasting coach. Her and her husband have done longer fasts, and she had mentioned, I think maybe he did it or she did it. I never realized that was a thing until she mentioned it, so I don't really have any experience with it. If I felt like I needed to eat, I'd probably just break my fast. I have done salt in my coffee, or of course the electrolytes, but for the most part, I just coffee, tea, water, electrolytes are all I have while I'm fasting. I've never done that. This next question I'm gonna do while I'm plucking my eyebrows. It's how do I make my steak bites in the air fryer? I'll make a short on this to demonstrate it, but I'm a little hesitant to do that because I eat my steak well done, and I know that's like awful to some people. I just don't like to see it bloody. It's the very simple answer. It is like a mental thing. But what I do is I buy the fajita steak from Walmart. It's pre-seasoned, it's cut into strips, and then I cut the strips into bite-sized pizzas, and I also trim any fat. So there's a little bit of prep work. It doesn't take long, and I don't do any extra seasoning. And then I take a parchment air fryer liner. I think that's like one of the greatest additions to an air fryer you can have, especially when you air fry something like steak. Juices come out of it, and it just helps to not turn it into like a juicy bottom of your air fryer. 400 degrees, I put my steak bites, just pile them in there, kind of spread them out as best as I can, but they're still touching each other. And then I air fry for about 9 minutes. If I'm around, maybe I'll open the drawer and shake it a little bit. There's really no rhyme or reason to if I do it or not. It's just more opportunity. And then I drain some of the juices, and I air fry it again. Sometimes I put it in for 9 minutes and I walk away. If I'm there, I'll kind of check it, but I like it to be brown throughout. I like it actually to get a little bit like crispy on the outside. So if it goes 9 minutes again, I'm fine with that. But usually I think like 6 minutes is probably enough for it to be well done and not pink in the inside. And I eat it exactly like that. It is so delicious. It's still pretty juicy. I know it sounds like it's gonna be super dry or not tasty or flavorful, but since I've always liked well done steak, that's just how I prefer it. And it's still really good, and I really like it. Now, I'm not a beef expert. I'm not super picky. I don't need like super perfect cuts of meat. I don't know, probably because I didn't grow up eating like the expensive cuts of meat. I've heard that some people don't like that steak. I like it more for me, but it's really yummy and it's super simple. And I could eat an entire package by myself. In fact, I have, and it's high protein, flavorful, and delicious. But I'll make it short, and when it's out, I'll try to remember to tag in this video. But bottom line, cut into bite-sized pieces, trim the fat, air fryer at 400 degrees for 10 minutes, then I shake it, drain some of the juice, and then I do it between 6 and 9 minutes probably again. Really, it's just kind of eyeballing it until it's your doneness that you like. I'm just picky and want it to be brown throughout. So that's what I do, and they're delicious. The next question was, they have an all or nothing mindset, and they want to lose 100 pounds, and they want to know how to just jump right into OMAD. And I have been plagued with the same personality trait. I'm either doing something or I say screw it and I'm not doing it. It's hard to try and to continue. So jump right in. Do it and know it's going to be awful. And I know that's not like a fun thing to hear, but if you know that something's going to be difficult for you and it's difficult, you're not surprised. But if you hope that it's going to be easy and then it's difficult, you're going to feel really discouraged and you're probably going to give up. That's not what you want to do. So what you want to do, know it's going to be difficult, but also know that the difficulty is short term. You're going to adjust and remind yourself of that. And I think that this part is really, really important. Allow yourself to enjoy your eating window. When you allow yourself to have the joy of an eating window and you have that victory each and every single day, it's going to be easier to fast the next day because you're not fasting to get to dieting food. You're not fasting to get to something you don't enjoy. You're fasting with a prize that's there for you. So for me personally, dinner works for the same reason. I have it to look forward to later in the day. If you have a meal, your OMAD that you enjoy, that is satisfactory, that you love, it's gonna be easier to jump right in, do the OMAD. Yes, the fasting time might suck at first. It might not be enjoyable. It might be really hard to get to that eating window. But if you enjoy the eating window and you're like, wow, that was really satisfactory and I didn't have to count carbs or do my macros or count the calories or worry if I had this or I didn't have that, it's gonna be enjoyable. And then the next day you're gonna be like, well, yeah, this is a little easier. I've done this before. I know I can do it. And then your fast won't be as awful and you get to an eating window that you enjoy. Keep repeating that process and pretty soon the fast isn't gonna be as awful. But expecting it to be difficult, knowing that ahead of time is gonna help. Allowing yourself to enjoy your eating window and just doing it, knowing that if you do day 1 and then you get to day 2, you won't have to do day 1 again. Those are my tips. Hype yourself up, allow yourself to enjoy the OMAD, and really compare it to diet brain that would plague me and probably you all day, every day in the past. So good luck. I know you can do it. 100 pounds, woohoo! Weka Brown, probably said that wrong, I apologize. Will I be making one of Logan's cucumber recipes and incorporating it into your eating window? I haven't done that, but that sounds like a really good plan. I should do that, and maybe it'll be in a short coming up soon. Me and my kids love cucumbers. I've definitely made lots of different cucumber recipes in the past. My father-in-law grows cucumbers and makes lots of different yummy cucumbers, but I think that's a great idea. I will be looking for one, making it, coming to a short sometime in the future. I do love cucumbers, so good idea, but I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna put my favorite perfume on and we're getting to the final question. So this last question is from Janet, and she mentioned how my dad didn't lose weight. It took him a while to lose weight starting fasting, and she asked, how did he keep going till he finally started losing weight? This is a hard one for me to answer in a Q&A because it's not my personal experience, but I'm going off of what I remember him telling me. And I would definitely encourage you to go back and listen to different podcasts or videos I've done with him. But he really was comparing it to dieting. When he moved to fasting and he had an eating window, there was a lot of joy in being able to have an eating window and not have the diet mentality. So growing up, I remember my dad dieting much more than my mom, and I know that's not typical. A lot of females will maybe see their mom dieting a lot. I remember my dad, I remember specifically once going to a softball game of my cousins, and he brought a salad and he had a container with measured out dressing, and I think he was doing low carb at the time. And I just remember thinking how awful that sounded. I wasn't dieting at the time, and just thinking you're at a ball field and you brought a salad container and things were measured out. And he's a lot like me. We're very similar. I guess I'm a lot like him in the fact that we are gung-ho when we're excited about something, and you give it your all and then all of a sudden would fizzle out, whatever he was doing. And so I think with fasting, he had the same thing where you're comparing it to constantly being bogged down with weighing, measuring, should I, shouldn't I, can I, can't I, if I have this, how does that impact me later? I had this earlier, what can I do later in the day? And not having that and not gaining weight were two big victories. So he didn't have the diet brain, he wasn't gaining weight, and yes, maybe he didn't lose weight at first, but he had the simplicity of fasting. He lost the diet brain that was constantly plaguing him many times throughout his adult life, and then he got to enjoy the eating window and he wasn't gaining weight. So not gaining weight, enjoying the lifestyle, those are two major victories. He focused on what was working well instead of focusing on the number isn't moving. So he was able to keep going because of the victories that he had, and then yes, eventually weight loss followed. That's me speaking on behalf of my dad. I have 3 interviews with him on this channel, and he definitely still enjoys fasting, still enjoys his eating window, and I think he would share something very similar if he were talking. Since he's hours away from me and at work right now, that's my spin on why he kept going even when he wasn't losing weight at first. Focus on what is working, what the benefits are, even if the scale isn't moving. Well, that was a lot of fun. I enjoy answering the questions, and I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know me a little bit more. And if you want to see a previous question and answer that I did, getting ready as well, you can check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, Donna, ciao.